Hey guys, this is Chris, Treasure Loft Racing Pigeons. Hope you're all doing well. This has to be my all-time favorite design for a pigeon feeder. Over the years I've tried a handful of different designs, but I just keep coming back to this one. So it's super cheap, it's easy to build, and the most important thing for me is that there is very little waste of feed. You know, normally the birds flick the feed around, they send it flying, and in my loft that means it falls through the floor in the gaps, and the food not only gets wasted, but the mice tend to find that and they become a real problem real quick. As you guys know, feed and grid are not cheap these days, so I hate having it go to waste, and this feeder definitely solves that problem for me. So stick around to the end and I'll show you how I build one. My boy Moose gets to go everywhere with me, but if he doesn't get to come, he definitely lets me know how mad he is. All right, I think I see it down here. What I'm looking for here are 5.5-inch wide by 6-foot tall cedar fence boards. And for this project, I'm using 4 of them. Now we gotta go find some screws and some wood glue. Let's see if I can't avoid breaking something here. All right, so to measure this out, we're going to have a spot for mineral, the white pick pot, and the red pick pot. And then we'll put a little divider. Then we'll have room for 4 for mine. That means 28 inches long. We need a bottom and 2 sides. So we'll go ahead and cut those. So a guy could make this any length you want, depending on how many birds you have and what your needs are. But now it's time to get started with the fun part. Back to 0. If you guys look at the backyard here, you'll notice there's a tarp there and a greenhouse on the left. Once upon a time, my family and I used to run a market farm, and we used the entire backyard as a garden. And it was a lot of fun, but it just got to be too much work. So we eventually just kind of gave up on that. Here we go. So that was the bottom and the two sides. Now we need to do the ends. The ends are 5 3/4 inch long. All right, cut that one. Winter is just around the corner, and one of my least favorite things to do is just to go outside and try and do this when it's 20 degrees outside. So I'm trying to get this project done. We luckily got some seriously nice weather today. Just bright blue skies, about 55 degrees. And there's a couple other things I got to get done. I got to clean out the nest bowls from last year so that I can have those ready. That's another thing I hate doing, is going out and washing with wet hands in freezing cold weather. So we'll get that done here soon too. Right here, I'm just attaching the ends, and as you'll see in a second, I had some problems because the wood is really thin, and so I split the wood. You just have to kind of be careful with this stuff because it's pretty cheap stuff, but once it goes together, it's pretty solid. Well, try that again. What I've done here is I've measured where each of the holes are going to go, and then I've measured down 1 3/4 inch for the center of where the center of the hole is going to go. part of this that makes it so effective at not allowing the seed to get spilled out of there is that the bottom of that hole is a good 3 inches from the bottom of the feeder. So when the birds stick their heads in there, they flick the seed around, but it's high enough up that when they flick the seed, it doesn't go out the hole, out the opening. Also, the opening is a 2.5 inch across circle, which allows for space for the pigeon to get its head in there, but it kind of fills the hole. So even if the feed does get flicked, the feed can't get out the hole because it's being filled up by the pigeon's neck. This is pretty flimsy wood, so this is just a little divider to kind of give it a little structural support. It separates the minerals from the grit as well, which is not that important, but it's mainly designed just to give this thing a little bit extra support so it doesn't collapse on itself. So we'll throw the pick pots in here and we'll see how they fit. I made another one of these and it has worked really well at keeping debris from getting in the grit, and I'm not wasting any of this, which I'm really happy about. So I didn't show it here, but I've got the lid attached with some lightweight hinges. And then the last step is to just smooth out the openings of the holes. It doesn't have to be pretty. You can tell it would probably be better if I used a router or a better tool for this. But this is literally just going to get crapped all over. So it does not need to look nice. It just needs to be functional. I'm just smoothing this stuff out so that when the pigeons stick their heads in there, the feathers don't get messed up by snagging on any of that rough wood. So we're just smoothing it out here. guys, that's it. Thanks for joining me today and hanging out to the end. Make sure you subscribe and like the video, and we will catch you on the next one. That's a wrap.